learning how to fly.
I didn't blame you for not recording it. I just said you got so mad at me, I stopped it. And apparently when I clicked start, it did not click. So shall we do this again?
Sure.
Okay, very well. We should know this topic by now. All righty. Woohoo.
Oh my God.
All right. This should be fun.
You suck.
I do. Welcome to the bathtub, Bill. This is your life. Anyway.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm your host, and inept host it is. My name is Bill. Who's hosting?
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Racing 101 times 5. For the 5th time that I'm going to try to get through this one because I screwed up the first 4 of them. This is Racing 101. So you want a race car, and we are trying to talk about different ways that you can start if you've never done this before. If you've never driven your car, as they say, in anger or for fun, these are great ways for you to get out there and get started. How'd we do?
Sounds good.
All right. So I know you guys have never thought about this before since we've already done this episode several times. Thank you very much. You're welcome. What is one way that we could go out there and give this a try for the very first time?
Visit an event.
Visit any event. That's true. You could just go and kind of, it's kind of like going to college where you don't really take the class. You just kind of sit in there and see what's going on. So what are you thinking about for that, Miss Jen? What are you thinking we should do if you just go visit? Like probably not the pros, probably go see the amateurs.
Yeah, so like NASCAR's fun and all, like to go and watch. Cars go really fast, but if you're able to go to like a track day of some sort, or like a Lemons race or an HPDE, you have the opportunity to walk around and actually speak to people. And you can look at cars, you can ask them about their cars, you can ask them how they got into it. So you'll have a lot more opportunity to talk to people. Yep. If it's something that you're interested in.
What do you think, Miss Vicky? Good idea?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's your first look at something that you're interested in and what it could possibly entail. But don't be overwhelmed if it looks like a lot, because, once you're in it, you're in it at that point. But, we're going to, in this episode, we're going to discuss not a lot. We're going to discuss several entry points to get into racing. So I believe that if you're interested in any of the ones we're going to talk to, the first thing you should do is just go visit and see if you can get into the pit areas.
And usually it's going to be pretty cheap, especially if it's an amateur event. Could be nothing, could be $5, could be 10, could be 20. Not terribly much money. So just go out there and go see. If we're there, say hi. We'd love to meet you. It'd be great. We'd give you a sticker. We would. Anyway, what is the gateway drug, Miss Vicky?
Oh, the gateway drug. We've always talked about the gateway drug, and that is autocross. It's inexpensive. Basically, it is more technical driving around cones, and it usually shows up in abandoned airfields or parking lots or mall parking lots. And again, it's more tactical than it is speed.
Yep. And races tend to be shorter.
And it's very busy. It's very, very busy because when you're not driving, you don't get as much seat time. But you can get instructors for them. But it's a timed event, and you are going to be working maneuvering cones. So, but again, they're great people to go out and visit with.
True.
Yeah.
Miss Jen, what do you think you need to bring to an autocross event? Just the first time?
You need to bring a running vehicle, preferably not a larger vehicle, such as, what did you say, like a Jeep or a...
You don't want things that can roll over, like
high,
Jeeps
yeah.
and high trucks and things like that.
So aside from that, like anything goes pretty much. And
Minivan?
Yeah. And you need a helmet.
You can bring a minivan. You can bring...
Yep.
You can bring anything.
Any car. Could be an automatic. Don't worry about it. Could be a... Does not matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really... I don't think you would really move out of second gear with that. So, I mean, speed is not the thing.
No.
It's agility.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you also need a helmet. But from what I understand from one of our previous guests, you could some of them have helmets you could borrow or rent.
Yep.
So
and you can drive with some of the more experienced drivers too. So you don't have to be the only one driving. You don't even have to be there to race. You could just sit in the seat with somebody else. They don't mind.
Yep.
So how long does it last, Miss Jen?
Either some are just a day, some are the weekend. So like they'll race for, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
During the day.
Could be shorter, could be longer. Depends. Yeah. Depends how many people, really.
Yeah.
And Jen, we went to an Evo school, and that's a little different than an autocross event. So what's involved with something like that? Instruction.
Yeah. But they both have instruction, don't they?
Well, this one's not competitive. It's really just about instruction. So you will have a instructor there to kind of help everybody out.
Okay.
Ready?
For the Evo school.
For the Evo school, yeah. It's basically how to autocross as opposed to a timed event.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I guess what we did was the Evo school.
Yeah, we did Evo school. We've never actually done a autocross race. We're going to do that soon. But
because the ones that we went to, there were instructors. So it was...
They had a timer up, but it wasn't really like they kept track of it.
Right.
So the goal was just to teach you how to do the various different things and show you what you were doing well and what you could do a little better.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Tiring.
It is a lot of fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. I mean, you get out there for a full day and you do, what was it, like 6 different runs, stuff. 4 or 5 runs each, so maybe 30 minutes of driving. But by the end of the day, that pizza tastes pretty good and that bed tastes even better.
Yep.
All right. Very well.
So
autocross,
Bill,
the gateway drug.
That is right. So what do you think about track nights in America?
So the SCCA, which is the Secret Car Club of the Americas, or the Sports Car Club of the America, depending on which way you want to say it. The second one is the formal name. The first one's a joke. Keep down the laughter, people. Keep down the laughter. You're drowning me out. Anyway, they set this up. They said, hey, let's get somebody out on the track just for the first time. So what they typically do is they'll run something. It could be a Thursday night. It could be any night during the week, but they'll rent the track and they'll invite everybody out there. You pay your $50 or $100 or whatever it is, depends on the track and the event. Go to the local track, get out there in your car. They do a quick safety work once over your car. They make sure you'll be safe. You could do a little lead follow. You could have somebody sitting in the seat if you request it, because you could say, hey, I'd like to have somebody show me what to do. And you just basically get out there on track for a lap or two at a time and go experience it. It could be something you always dreamed about doing, and could be, something you just really, really wanted to do and see what it thoughts. And it's a great way to get out there. No real race prepped cars. It's all street cars. Pretty much any car can go out there. I've seen some scary cars out there that I was like, whoa, okay. So that's a car I wouldn't take. But if you're having fun, go have fun and just bring your car and go see what it's like. Go race a track.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they keep track of time. They might, but I don't know if they do. That's not the point.
So next we have HPDEs.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky, you ever been to an HPD?
Oh, tons.
Once or twice?
Yeah, tons of them. Yep. Yeah, they are high performance driving education events.
Mm-hmm.
And they are on a road track.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
All the ones we go to are, yeah.
Yeah. So they include instruction, and it's usually, it would be, you show up at the event, there's a setup for it, and I believe we discussed that in some of our episodes also.
Almost always.
Yep. And they are set up for an entire weekend. You can stay at the track. And then you kind of go in, you have about 20 minutes of education and then 20 minutes on the track. And that just alternates through the entire weekend.
When you're first starting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Jen, what do you need for an HPD?
You need a running car just running car, and you need a helmet.
Right.
You're gonna need a helmet.
Sure.
And they do a check
Safety
on your car, right? Yeah,
Yep.
Safety check. Yeah.
Yeah. With almost all of these, your car is going to have to be, empty. And they'll do some safety checks just to make sure everything's fine, because the last thing anybody ever wants is for something to go wrong. So try to prevent that. It's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cost of this, Bill? Well, since Vicky's on the line, I would say it's somewhere in the $200 to $600 range. Depends on where you go and what event you're doing. And it can be a single day event. It can be 2-day event. There's even some that are 3-day events. Usually I always kind of figure it's like $250 to $300 a day is kind of a good rough number. Depends on where you go. Some places will be a little more. Some tracks cost a little more. Some people running it cost a little more. It depends on how much the track costs, how many people they need to run the event, and how many instructors they need. And, some places that run these are for profit, so they take that and then they add a little bit. And some places are strictly for promoting the sport and getting more people out there. So those would tend to be a little cheaper. The best thing that I would say for these types of events is try to make it, once you've gone to one or two, you'll start to see where you kind of fit and go to that place more often. Some people want to have more track time and don't really care about the instruction. Some people want to have a good balance of instruction and track time. And some people want to have a lot more instruction and they're willing to give up a little track time to get that instruction. It depends on what your goals are and what your personality is. And that's how you tend to choose. And we've gone to, I think, 7 different ones so far. And we've found some that we like a lot. And we found some that were not our favorite. So, you'll know what's right with you when you go, and you'll know which one you like.
Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Jen.
Yes.
HPDEs versus track days. What some places say track days, some places say HPDE. What's kind of the difference there?
The track days, they have less instruction.
Right.
And more seat time, but less instruction.
The balance is kind of higher towards track time than first instruction or class time.
Yeah. So, but the same equipment's needed. You need a car, and a helmet.
Yep.
So.
Could be a day, could be a weekend. Typically.
And what about the cost, Mr. Bill?
Costs. Well, since there's less instruction at track days, there's going to be less cost of instructors, which means they typically cost less. Sometimes it'll be, could be as little as half of what an HPDE event is. It really just depends. I mean, we've gone to track days where it was essentially our team and one or two other teams. So the cost can vary greatly depending on whether it's a organized business or organized track event or just a bunch of friends getting out there. So the cost can kind of be all over the place for track days.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The next would be road rallies, which are extremely fun. They are point-to-point racing. And it's more like scenic driving with a purpose. And it's not really based so much on speed as much as time.
Time and checkpoints. It's like it's either time or scavenger hunt points. So the more things you find, the more points you get, the better you do, things like that.
So these sound like fun.
They do sound like fun, don't they? They could be a couple 100 miles to, maybe
Thousands.
several thousands. And the costs can be as low as $40 in your area or some areas. But, they are also sponsored charity events. So you would have to get sponsors. You're out.
Raising money for the charity. So
exactly. So there is that when it comes to costs. And you'll need, to know what the event rules are, an odometer, obviously a clock. And the smartphone has apps to know what your positionings are in the race, so you can keep track of everything. And you can probably get a lot of road rally stuff off your phone apps, and they'll direct you in that direction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So which road rally do I want to do?
You want to do the Lemons?
No.
Cannonball Run.
You want to do Cannonball Run?
I do.
Gumball Rally.
That's right. No, I'm not saying I don't want to do those, but that's not the correct answer in this time. One Lap of America.
Tell me about One Lap America.
So you start in center of the country, right near Tire Rack. I can't remember exactly where you start. I think it might be their parking lot. And you basically have a rally from racetrack to racetrack, and it changes every year. So you go from where you start to the racetrack, you race around the track, and then you go to the next racetrack, and then you race around the track. And that goes over like 5, 6, 7 days, depends on the rally. And they actually keep track of how you do and what your times are. And there's a winner and a loser, but I really don't care. I just want to go from racetrack to racetrack and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be fantastic. I think we need to do this one year, people.
When do they usually, what time of year do they usually do that?
Well, conveniently for you, Jen, it is in the summertime, so we have a chance.
No way.
It is. So your school system schedule will not impede our progress.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, there is. So someday I'm going to get to do this. It's probably going to be 2023.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get there.
Yep.
So Miss Vicky, you found a couple places that you could look for different types of rallies and different rally purveyors. Who would be some of the ones that you would see?
Well, for rallies, they're SCCA has one. Car clubs have them. There's the Gumball Rally, which I think is a Midwest one. I'm not exactly sure.
Moves.
And then Lemons has one, obviously.
There's several of those. They're all around the country.
Yes, there are lots of road rallies, and I think that they're a good way to get involved in a version of racing. If you got like a weekend to kill with some friends, or a couple days, because it's going to take you a couple days.
Or a week.
Yeah, and it could be, like a whole team. It could be 2 to 3 people a car. So you kind of rotate out your drivers.
I am not volunteering for the 3-person Miata. Just FYI.
Nah, there is no 3-person Miata. So anyway, I think it's a good start if you want to just go out and have a good time.
Speed's not really the thing. Time's not really the thing. Even if it's a time, speed, distance rally, it's a certain amount of distance at a certain speed yields a time. It's not faster is better. So these aren't really races. Sometimes they develop into races, but that's a different story. But these are just ways to go out there and have a good time with your car and your friends. So have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be like us. where really our first serious time in a car as a group, we just entered a lemons race. You could have your first time at a race.
Yep. So there are different kinds of race events. We found 4. I'm sure there's more. But there's spec racing, sprint racing, circle track racing, and endurance racing. Again, I'm sure there's different kinds of racings more than that. But so, Bill, you want to go off and tell them what the different kinds of racings are?
All right, I'm going off now. This is ridiculous.
Go off.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Anyway, so spec racing. Spec racing, to me, I always think Spec Miata, Spec E46, things like that, where it's one defined car with one defined set of rules, and all the cars are made to be the same. If you're old enough to be our age, you can remember they had this International Race of Champion, the IROC series, where they had all the different cars were made to be precisely the same, and the different drivers from the different racing series would all race together, and it was trying to figure out who's the best driver. So that's the theory. You set the car up to be a specified setup, and you get to see who's a better driver. So you get fields that are very tight, fields that are very competitive, and cars that are all very similar. Also, with the spec, you know exactly what you need to do to build the car, and you know an approximate amount of how much money it would cost. So it keeps your costs down. And usually with spec series, they'll have deals on some of the spec parts, so that they'll be, since they know they're going to sell a lot of them, they'll be a little cheaper, so you can save a little bit of money, like a Spec Miata or a spec, the various types of Miatas, an NA, an MB, an NC, and an ND. They all have different spec series for them, and they all have different requirements, but all of them within the same race are approximately the same car. So it's a specified race car.
Mm-hmm.
I do sprint racing too.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about sprint racing.
Well, we haven't done it, so that's fine. So sprint racing typically could be as short as 1 or 2 laps, where you try to get your fastest lap, like a time attack event. Or it could be a 20 or 30 or 40-minute race where you do several laps. Could be 6-lap race, could be 10-lap race, depends on the track, depends on the series. The cars are timed. Usually they can be wheel to wheel. Some of them, like in a time attack, would not be wheel to wheel. There'd be several cars on the track, but you're not really racing against each other. You're racing against the clock. Or in a sprint race, you could be racing against each other. We had Adam Gervais on before, talking about GLTC. That's a sprint race, and one that we want to go see, and hopefully we will. And basically, you get a whole bunch of cars out there, and you have a good time. The races are quick. You'll have several races a weekend, but they tend to be shorter than the duration of a endurance race. So, and then the other big one, probably one of the more popular ones in the country, is circle track racing, where you're out on a dirt track. It's tends to be, I don't know how they came up with this, but the circle tracks tend to be circular, or mostly circular. And
well, they're on dirt.
And they are on dirt.
Yes.
And they race these all the time. They race them, could be late at night, could be long into the evening. Tends to be a little bit of contact there. You've got a combination of fairly aggressive drivers and dirt, so that leads to a couple cars touching each other, especially since the tracks tend to be short, really, really short. And tons of fun though. Good time out there, getting out there and sliding around. It's kind of like racing on a skid pad, only without the water. They just use dirt. And then we chose to do endurance racing because we like it. It's a road course, which means we turn right and left all in the same race. And go out there and you race, and it could be as short as maybe 4 hours, could be as long as 24, 25 hours, or it could be several shorter races than that for a weekend. And you just try and see who can do the most laps. And if it gets down to 2 people have the same, or 2 teams have the same number of laps, then it's time. And the races can be very competitive, or they can be, you can win by tens of laps, or you can win by fractions of a second, everything in between. Great time.
Yep.
It's what we do mostly. And,
so what are the average costs between spec racing all the way to endurance racing, would you say?
Well, we don't do a lot of spec racing. So speculating on my spec racing pricing, I would think it's going to be you're going to pay by the day or by the race. I would think you're going to pay by the day or the weekend, and it's going to be a couple $100. Sprint racing, spec racing, all about the same. Circle track racing can be a lot cheaper. Races, I think from what I remember, and this is going back a ways, you kind of pay by the race. Cheaper, it's on dirt. Tons of fun though. And endurance racing tends to be variable depending on what level you're at. If you're at a Lemons race, the entry fee is like $1,500 for the weekend. That's going to be chopped up by 2, 3, or 4 drivers or more. Could be as many as you want. And it could go up to tens of thousands to much, much, much more as you get into the professional, like the 24-hour of Le Mans, which is not 24-hour of Lemons mispronounced. It's actually the other way around. I don't even want to know what they pay to enter. And the entry fee for all of these races is only the beginning, because you've also got wearables, consumables, tires, gas, and everything else. So that's just the entry fee. But tons of fun by all. We like to do them all. We like to do them all because we like cross training. Anything in a car is quite fun.
So this particular type of racing, if you want to get into it and not have to really pay the larger fees for this type of racing, there are strategies.
Or build your own.
Yeah, or build your own. Yes. So you can rent a seat, and that would be, a couple $100 to do that. Or you can rent a car, which can go up to probably about $1,200 to $1,500 maybe. Depends. For the whole weekend.
It depends. I mean, if the Lemons race costs $1,500 to enter, or Lucky Dog or Champ, they're all about the same. If they're renting you a car, you've got to pay for the entry fee plus the car, so it's going to be more.
Right.
So it can be a couple $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the series and the car and the competitiveness of the car. And remember, this is your first time going out there. So if you're going to rent a seat, a cheapest seat you're ever going to find is probably from a friend. It's going to be like $500.
Right.
For a Lemons race. Could be $1,000, could be more. And as the series go up and as the cars get more expensive, the price goes up. So
yep. So there's that option too. Or you can just go ahead and enter a team with a car, but that would entail obviously a lot more to get involved. These particular vehicles, you are going to need a helmet with complete safety gear setup, and we've discussed this with the Adam Owen episode on ways of actually getting around that also, which you can rent.
Which will come out probably a week after this episode.
Yeah. And, you will definitely need that. And the cars are prepared, just so you know that the cars are prepared in a way. They'll have full roll cages, full safety gears, and there will be, for the most part, a mobile trailer garage that will be on hand. And that's what you don't have to be responsible for that if you're just, jumping in just to sample it. But that is what this particular racing will have.
Sometimes you'll rent a car and you'll have to bring it. Sometimes you'll rent a car and they'll bring it. Sometimes you'll rent a car and they'll bring it with tools. Sometimes you rent a car and then everything else is your choice. Like you need to bring gas cans and everything else.
I think we rented a car. They pointed us over to some other group of guys that had tools.
Yep. Go borrow those.
Yep, there's that. Yeah. This guy will help you right here.
Yeah. If you need anything, they know somebody.
Yeah.
So try to get all these things specified. The most important thing with a rented car is safety, though. Make sure you're comfortable with the car. Make sure you know how to do everything. Make sure you know how to get out of the car, especially in a hurry. And make sure you know the peculiarities of the car, because you don't want to learn these things out on the track.
Yep. I would have to say that is true.
Yep. And if you don't feel safe, don't go out.
So these are our beginning episodes. Our beginning steps into racing. I think we had 5 or 6, maybe.
Entry ways to get out there for your first time. There's others, but these are kind of the more popular and easy ones to get there. I mean, you can go out ice racing.
You could do iRacing and meet people on iRacing.
You can.
There's that also.
It's almost the same. So there's lots of different ways to get on track. Sometimes it's better to get a little instruction before you go out there. Sometimes you just jump 2 feet in and try to swim, though. Right, Jen?
That's right.
That's right. Jen's still swimming.
You know what? This is our journey.
It is. That's right. Miss Vicky.
And we have a heck of a story to tell.
We do. And if you ever want to listen to it, it's on Garage Heroes and Training Podcast.
It is awesome. I'm not sure that I'd want to do it any other way.
Oh, I've got news for you, Jen. There's no way for you to do it another way. This is the only way we're doing it. So
just say yes.
Just say yes.
That's right. If you ever had any interest, even if you just said, hey, that might be fun, you should definitely try it. It's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what?
Yes.
She did. Actually, you asked to say yes. You said, can I do this too?
And we said yes.
Yeah,
you said yes.
Yep. So go out there, have a good time. Even if you just want to go out there and just see what's going on and find out. We've had teams come over. I remember one time in Pittsburgh, somebody came over and said, hey, we're going to be racing next year. We just want to see what's going on. I said, come on in. And I don't think we made them change anything or fix anything on our car, but we had plenty of opportunity if they wanted to. But most of the teams will let you come on in and say hi. And if we're there, definitely come over and say hi. We'd love to help, and we'd love to get somebody else started. So with that, this episode of Racing 101, how to get started and what are some of the best entry points to performance driving, is complete. Unless I got that wrong. Did I get that wrong? Are we good?
We're good.
Okay, we're good. All right, so that is the episode. We hope you had a great time. If you have any questions or ideas or things that we may have missed, please write to us at garageheroesandtraining@gmail.com or make a comment on some of our postings in the social medias where we creatively are Garage Heroes and Training. And we look forward to the next episode of our Racing 101 series.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. Where Vicky calls it.
So you won a race car.
There we go.
Yep.
You know why Vicky gets to say it? Because Bill messes it up every time. Anyway, that's our episode for tonight. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Night. Take 2.
Take 17.
Take 3.
Take 3.
Dominating with Dawson.
Mr. Dawson again, I presume.
Hello, present.
Jennifer. Woo-hoo.
Here.
All right.
Woo-hoo.
So we're trying to introduce people into racing. We're trying to introduce them into things that they need to know or things they need to be aware of. And one of the things they need to be aware of is the red mist.
Oh, yeah.
Mist. It affects people.
I
Even
still don't really understand that.
Even people you don't think would ever have it.
The red mist, as I've heard it described, is like it's like you get so mad that there's a red mist in front of your face and you see more red than you see anything else. Is that am I saying it right? Is there something else to it? I don't know.
Kind of.
What do you know about it?
Well, as of yet, it hasn't happened, so I'm thankful for that. But it's when
it's happened to me.
it's when you get too focused on an opponent and getting past them or around them, and start to go towards too aggressive or too risky or too
slow,
target fixated, and that becomes you do get slow, or you could get too fast, or you could get reckless, but you're not driving to your ability, and it's actually impairing your performance, but you get so caught up in it you don't even realize it.
Kind of like
maybe you're also letting
little road rage.
Road rage, also with some fixation, probably some projection onto the other driver, probably some letting the other driver get in your head and drive your car in some cases.
Yep.
So these are symptoms, I would say, of the red mist. I mean, ultimately, the red mist is letting yourself drive angry and be chasing an unreasonable goal or trying to assert yourself on track in a way that you shouldn't, like, kind of using your car as to make a point sometimes is what you're I think when you're in the throes of the red mist, you're probably in the kind of headspace where you're like, I'm willing to drive this car right through that guy right now if I can just pass it.
Yep. I have to prove something.
Yeah, you got something to prove. You got a chip on your shoulder. Those are the kind of things that are indicative of the red mist, and those are the kind of things you just can't let inform your behavior on track. Yeah, I think it's happened to many of us. I mean, the kind of times where it'll happen to me on track is if somebody passes me or just does something that really endangers me. Like somebody swept across my bow in the tiny vet one time at Sears Point going through turn one, which is just pretty much a flat out turn. So you're fully committed, like, you know, and then the tiny vet, I had it like wound out in fourth gear doing all I could do. But also it's a sort of thing where you can't make a sudden change of direction when you're that committed and a turn that fast. So this Camaro came just sweeping right across the front of me. And I was just like, it was too close. It was a kind of move where if either of us had gotten it a little bit wrong, we would have been in big trouble. And I got the red mist after that, and I tried to chase the guy down and terrorize him. You know, just making a point of being in his mirror for a lot longer, because he came and swept by me like it was like there was no regard for the fact that I was there. So I was like, I'm gonna make a point of you realizing I am here. Like, I'm probably not gonna catch you and pass you, but I'm gonna harangue you for many laps and embarrass you for thinking you're that much faster than me. And I did. I don't feel great about it. I also shot the guy a bird. It's on film. You can go see it if you want to. But I really chased this guy and got real mad in the car. Nothing bad happened. I didn't put a wheel off or anything about it, but I was definitely in a bad headspace after that guy tried to murder me.
Jennifer, you are the least red misty person I would think that we have on our team.
Good.
Yeah, I would say.
Do you understand it?
I do. I do understand it now. Thank you, Ben Dawson.
That's that's the best picture I could paint for you. Like I really can't think of many more times in my driving career where I've really felt that immediately threatened and pissy about it. But yeah, I went to town wailing on the guy, I think until he pitted or something.
But usually, does the red mist make you drive better?
No, I wasn't doing any better. But also it can make you take more risks that you don't need to take because you end up becoming so narrowly focused on the one person you're chasing or whatever that you're going to miss a lot of things in traffic. It's funny because there was another person who in the race I mentioned who I didn't realize I passed and was right behind me for a lot of time, but he was watching and and he's like, wow, we had a great battle. I was like, I didn't even know you were there. I was just trying to run this Camaro down and make his life hell. I missed one of the funnest races of my life. Not even realize I was really duking it out with this guy because he was just trying to hang on, but I was trying to hang on to this Camaro. So I missed a bunch of fun that I didn't even realize I was having because I was all just focused up on trying to road rage on this guy who passed me in what I felt was an unsafe way. So yeah, I had tunnel vision on this one thing and didn't even realize how much other fun there was going on in traffic as it was happening.
And that target fixation, let's call it, really put you at a higher risk because you had a car that was buzzing around and racing with you that you didn't even know was there.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Aware I was racing and we were inches from each other and I passed him. Like I was aware that I was passing this car. I was just so focused on this other thing that I didn't realize what a fun race I was having. I was completely aware of the car. I just met later this guy posted a video of us duking it out from his angle and he was like, it was such a fun race. And I was like, I went back and watched. I was like, oh yeah, it was. But at this point, I was looking ahead so much of this Camaro that I kind of really wasn't paying attention to how much fun I was having in traffic otherwise. So it kind of sucked the fun out of that part of the race for me. So it can be dangerous. It can make you focus on the wrong stuff during the race. It's just generally unproductive. I guess if there's a great way to identify it as it's happening, that's good. I've only had it happen. Like I said, it doesn't happen to me very often, but it can be bad. I'm sure it can make you push your car too hard. You know, we drive too hard through a turn trying to keep up with somebody and you push off the exit, hit a wall or something like that, or get crossed up and spin out. And there are plenty of ways you can mess you up. Yeah, you get mad, you get mad and you let your emotions start driving the car. Maybe you miss a shift and do a money shift. There's plenty of ways you can mess up if you start letting your heart drive the car, or letting the id drive the car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now that Jennifer knows what it is and Ben knows what it is, what are things you can do to identify it, and what would you think would be a way to stop it?
Well, it's funny, as I was saying the last thing, I was just thinking, like, it'd be great if there's a way to identify it or do something about it while you're having it happen.
That's why I host this podcast, buddy.
It's tough. You gotta be pretty self-aware and self-actualized to be able to understand that it's happening and remedy it on the fly. I mean, good luck. I think that's just a personal emotional development thing. I don't think I'm good at it.
What do you think,
Luckily, I don't
Miss
get
Jen?
the red mist that often.
Miss Jen, you have any ideas?
I got no idea because I guess because I'd never experienced it, it would be hard to say how to stop it.
So
So
you haven't had it yet. I mean, you got a lot
Yeah.
of racing ahead of you, young lady.
we'll drag you down the bad path, Jen. Don't worry.
The red mist is going to find you because especially as you get faster and faster, that's kind of one of the ways it pops up. It's like, I got to pass this guy, but it's, you get fast enough to where you could pass that guy, but maybe that driver don't want to let you go. You know what I mean? Like there is like an intermediate driving phase where you get fast enough to pass people, but not quite. You don't quite have the racecraft, which is getting around people. You don't have all those tools in your tool belt yet. So you're right there on people's bumper, and it builds up and builds up because you don't quite have all the moves to pull off the pass yet, but you got the pace. So you're just getting slowed down, and you're slowed down, but maybe you don't have the moves like Jagger yet, so you can't, you don't know which turn you can kind of slow you down in there and get away with it. So that's another place where you get red mist can pile up on you is just getting frustrated by somebody you should be able to pass. Right? Does that happen before, Bill?
Yeah, well, like I said, it hasn't happened to me. So I do have a way, and I'm not sure that I'm immune to it, and I'm not. It could be the robot in me, but
oh yeah.
There's this gentleman who has a podcast. His name is Ross Bentley. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. Occasionally, he has a really horrible guest host with him.
Yeah.
So
I know that guy. I know who you're talking about. That guy's terrible.
The guest host, yeah. Whew.
The guest host. No, yeah. Ross is a saint. He's amazing.
He is. He puts up with that guest host guy. That guy's horrible. But so he has this thing, and I've adopted it. I don't know if it stopped me from red misting or not. But what I do is typically the start finish line, unless I'm in traffic or somewhat occupied. What I will do is he always recommends to recenter yourself. And one of the ways you can recenter yourself is to put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. So almost every time I go by the start finish line, I try to do that. And if I don't do that, then I'm not thinking about my racing. And that's a significant occurrence, and that could be leading towards the red mist, because you want to be thinking about your racing. I know you want to be in the zone and you want to be just driving and subconscious and everything, but you got to be thinking about your racing and paying attention. So that's one of the things.
So you're saying it's like a little bit, it's like a reality check-in.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's something like I got to check in with the real world every once in a while, and here's how I do it. Every lap is this, or maybe much. I wave to this. Maybe I wave to the same. Maybe I wave to the same tree every time I go by. I wave at this tree if I missed it. Okay.
Flaggers love to be waved at.
Yeah, that's right. They do. I'm the worst person to ever talk about this side of motorsport stuff, like the mental stuff, because I don't put any thought into it at all. But I totally respect all the stuff that people write about it. It just never applies to me because I don't use my brain at all. But those are some great methodologies for thinking people.
Yeah, I think the big thing is to make sure, check in that you're conscious on what you're doing.
Yep, it's true. One of the things you could realize if you're able to kind of pick up on it in track driving is if you're getting too sucked in, or you're getting the red mist or whatever it is, whether it's through kind of getting obsessed with something or actual anger, you can just try to pick up on your breathing. If you realize like I'm breathing pretty fast and I shouldn't be, like maybe that's a sign that you're a little too into it.
Or you're not
hopefully
breathing.
if you go do a few. Or if you're not breathing, like you take a bit, like have I been breathing this whole time? But one of the good ways to kind of pick up on this early on is if you do HPD events where they have an in-car instructor. One of our big jobs as in-car instructors is to pay attention to the person driving. Like we're not just looking at the windshield. We're making sure your hands are in the right place. We're checking on you, make sure you're breathing. We'll talk to you as we're going along a little bit and make sure when I ask for an answer, the person's not like like they're not all bound up. So we're kind of watching out for the whole student, because an instructor in HPDE, we may help you get a little bit faster, but the main thing is we're just trying to keep you alive and kind of keep you regulated as you get into getting used to track driving. So that's one of our jobs, and so that's one of the things that helped me early on be aware. Was I had an instructor who she would just be like, "Hey, just checking in, you breathing okay?" And I always was, but it was just nice to kind of get the frequent check-ins from her, and it kind of helps me remember to check in, make sure I'm breathing, that sort of thing. I don't have quite the routine you do, Bill, but yeah, it's good to check in with your body and check in with reality, because you can really get sucked into just driving, right?
Don't strangle the steering wheel. It didn't do anything to you.
Yeah. If you realize your hands are really sore and you're just gripping the heck out of the wheel, then that's another sign that you might be needing to knock 10 to 20% off of it right there.
Yep. Did you ever notice? Jennifer may have seen it too. If you ever notice when you're watching a video and Randy Popes is talking about driving, he'll always hold the steering wheel with like 2 or 3 fingers, and his pinkies will be up in the air just to further solidify that his grip is light.
That's every driving instructor always says when they're talking about they're always going to do it because that's the idea they're trying to teach. Dude, I'm doing the gripping the wheel with my ring finger and thumb. For people who don't see us, obviously on a podcast, but yeah, they always grip it with like 2 fingers to demonstrate it, to demonstrate the ideal that hey, we have got really light hands on the wheel. You don't need to be holding onto the wheel. You just need to be pushing and pulling and moving the wheel with a very light touch.
And there's another reason to do it besides the stress and wearing yourself out, especially in an endurance race. You cannot over grip the wheel for a 3-hour stint. You physically can't do it. But
you can try, but you're going to be really slow and really tired, and you're not going to do your next stint.
Right. And the other thing is if you're gripping the wheel really tight, you don't have those fine motor skills and you can't feel as well. So you're going to be losing some information that you could get from the steering wheel. That you're
I think I keep it pretty loose in my hands. I'm ready to let that thing go wherever it needs to go.
we have no doubt, sir. So red mist.
I mean, you need to have have a good grip on the wheel, but also be ready to don't grip it so hard that you can't roll with it as it's moving with the road.
Yeah, don't over grip it and don't under grip it. You want to be in control, but not strangle it. And the red mist, avoid it.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Dominating with Dawson.
I have a fever. And what this fever needs is some dominating with Dawson.
Uh-oh. Probably got to go to the hospital and get you a swab.
I'm thinking Jennifer might need to come and do the vaccine or something because there's a problem.
Uh-oh.
So we're doing our 101 segments for Dominating with Dawson, trying to match them up.
Talking to new folks and prospective drivers. That's exciting.
New or recent or soon to be drivers going to the track, going to an autocross, doing whatever. Now this doesn't apply to autocross, but Ben, if I'm on the track and the car is going straight, I don't have anything to do, right?
All right. Well, I mean, there's not much to do. You can you can try to find MySpace. I hear it's kind of mostly weird stuff now, but you can go check on MySpace, see what's going on over there.
Check your email.
Check email. Great time to join TikTok and figure out how to do whatever I think you dance or something on there.
I'm a big talker.
So anyway, yes, there's not that much going on. You're going to shift gears probably. You'll be coming out,
hopefully
shift 1 or 2 gears while you're on the straightaway. But the main thing is you just got your foot on the floor and you're trying to keep the car on the track, right?
No, Ben. There's lots to do.
So what are you doing?
There's lots to do, Ben. Jennifer, what do you do on the straightaways? Ben's being facetious, so we're going to answer this one for him, and he's going to say, "Yep." And
drive straight.
Drive straight would be the first goal. Yes, you can check your mirrors.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not going to look at anything. We're not going to look at anything at all.
You can check the flags. Good time to check your gauges. You got a little bit of time
to check your gauges. That's right.
You know, when the water temperature is above 200 something, usually a bad sign. Depends on the car. You can check the flags. You can make sure you're not strangling the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's a great time to catch your breath and sort of give yourself, if you're going to kind of do a rhythmic reality check every race, that's a great time to do a check-in. Just sort of look at your pits as you go by. If you're doing a race or something like that, make sure nobody's trying to tell you something from the pits. That's usually on the straightaway. But yeah, the essential stuff is to check your mirrors and check your gauges, and that's what kind of stuff that will keep your car alive. A good time to check and make sure everything's going okay, because the flagging people at the track will let you know if there's an outward sign that something's wrong with your car. Like the muffler is dragging on the ground, then you may not know it, or if there's some obvious fluid pouring out, they'll let you know. But you might not know that you're pouring fluid out. But things we can find out internally in the car, our gauges are going to tell us. So it's always great to check on those. It's easy to get wrapped up in your driving and forget to check them. So especially if you're on a straightaway by yourself and don't have other traffic to negotiate, that's a great time to double check and make sure your oil temp's not too hot, and make sure your water temperature is okay and you have gas in the car, right?
Yep, you can listen for noises. You can concentrate on feelings, like you can feel if you got a flat spot on your tire, or if something's not right, if something's not normal. Just
And then check
just
your mirror again,
double check. Yeah, check your mirror again.
and then check your mirror again.
Yeah, and not a bad plan, especially if you're driving a low dollar endurance racing, to do a brake check before you need it at the end of the long straightaway.
Well, what do you mean by that, Bill?
Well, sometimes your brakes, you just want to do a little, hey, are they still there? Just
A little confidence tap. We're talking about just kind of, maybe if you're driving down the straightaway with your right foot on the gas, you might just bring your left foot over and just tap it to make sure that you feel the brake pedal is there. We're not trying to slow down, but just touch it to make sure the pedal is kind of just at the top of the engagement where you think it can be. Because a lot of times after you've driven a lap or two on track, especially if you hit a bunch of curbs, so if you haven't applied the brakes since you've hit some curbs, it can kind of knock the pads back away and kind of push the pads to spread the pistons back out, so the pads aren't right at the face of the brake rotor. So there may be a little bit of travel. So that when you go to hit the brake pedal, expecting to engage in a certain place, it may be a long pedal that may travel a little bit further before it engages, or you may have to pump it before you get full braking after you've had what's called pad knockback, which is where the pads, like I mentioned, get knocked back away from the rotor and the pistons spread back out. So that's something that can happen, and that's another reason to always give yourself a little confidence tap as you're going down the straightaway. And also, sometimes people will see the little flash of your brake lights and they're like, okay, this person's probably about to get into the brakes. So it's kind of another way some people can kind of understand that you're about to brake. But the main thing is it's a safety check to make sure before you go diving into a high speed brake zone that you've got the brake pads fully flush with the face of the rotor, and that there's pressure in the system.
So Jennifer, anything else that you're doing going down a straightaway we haven't covered?
Yeah, I'm not doing a lot of that. No.
Maybe you.
But
could.
we're checking our mirror, right? We're checking our mirror a lot.
Yeah, that. But
that's
gosh,
the
you
one
guys
thing.
had a long list there. Good Lord, the straightaway is only so long.
Not done yet.
Check your mirror is the main one. Checking your mirror and relaxing is the main one. It's great to check your gauges, but always watch your mirror.
Yep. It's also a good time to, especially when you're doing lots and lots of laps, to either plan the turn at the end of the straightaway or to plan what you're going to work on that lap.
Well, see, my straightaway experience is still consisting of who am I pointing by? Because
you have to
not
plan
there yet.
No, that's okay. That's part of being in the flow of traffic.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're in the flow of the traffic moving up, and sometimes you're in the flow of traffic mostly moving down. But Bill's talking about planning your entry to the next turn, or planning future things, but also you have to plan for the people who are about to come past you. So other future things you have to plan. If there are people, coming up to pass you, is I got to plan how I'm going to let this person by and negotiate the turn with them having gone by or being in the process of going by. So that's the other side of planning.
Yep, absolutely. And the thing, especially for the new people going to track the first time, you're not going to be able to do this because you're going to be overwhelmed. But as you get more relaxed and as you become more comfortable, you'll have more mental time free to think about these kind of things. Like Jennifer, when you first went on track the first few times, I remember you getting out just basically being A, tired, and B, mentally just like overwhelmed with all
there was a lot. But like a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, I wouldn't say it's muscle memory, but it's just stuff that you just automatically start to do, and just you just start to do it and you start to recognize it. Like I still get some overload out there, but like there are things that I'm looking at all the flag stations now. Like before, it was just I didn't even pay attention to that. So it is getting easier, but to go out the first time, it's overwhelming. So many things
all the stuff that Bill and I rattled off the list. You're like, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, these are all things that just become part of data assimilation. Yep. Like it just becomes part of your routine of just collecting all those. Yeah, you scoop it up like a whale swimming through the ocean, just letting all the food just roll into its mouth. Pretty much, you're just kind of always just scooping up information as you go along. So it becomes more and more a part of the natural order.
Mm-hmm.
I think the point of the discussion was, listen, you're on a straightaway. As you progress, you'll get more comfortable. And as you get more comfortable, you have more things that you could do. And it's just pointing out that you don't just point the car, go straight, and I'll see you at the end of this. There's things you should and could do as you get more and more comfortable. For instance, some of the things we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah.
Agreed.
Cool. Okay. All right. So the straightaway is not for sleeping.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's stuff to do.
Not today, anyway.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. Okay. Well, that's Ben Dawson dominating for today.
Thanks, Ben.
For today. For today.
Today.